Okay, well, this is just relentless, this selling which is going on now. And I think 9578 now on the Nifty, and more importantly on the Bank Nifty. HDFC Bank, by the way, is now down 9.2%. So that double digit on HDFC, triple digit on HDFC Bank is a distinct possibility now. How should you position yourself in this last hour of trade? We have Mitesh Thakkar and Prakash Kaba now joining us. Good afternoon. Mitesh, I guess nobody can trade the index here, right? Or can you? And what would be your stock calls?
Difficult, Anuj. I think practically, the only way to trade here would be putting in some kind of option spreads, and I think there's no better way of doing it, because trading directly would involve very wide stop losses, the risk of a bounce back from oversold levels, and going long is totally out of question in this kind of scenario. So, and you will never know which of these days and from what level exactly will the bounce back happen, because levels for the time being, at least with this kind of speed of movement, levels do not hold much of an importance. So that you have to shift. Either you trade through option spreads or just sit out. I think protecting your capital from a trading point of view in this market is excellent. I think nobody is going to blame you that the Nifty was down about 15% in the month of March and you were flat. That's totally fine. So I think that's the way to approach it. Otherwise, if somebody wants to trade some stocks, the call which I would recommend would be a sell on Biocon with a stop at 282 for targets of 262, and Britannia is a sell sell around 2890 with a stop at 2930 for targets of 2820.
Okay, so those are some of the calls that Mitesh is working with. Prakash, what are you doing in the last hour? Are you sort of looking at shorting any more?
Good afternoon to you, Sudhi. I'm unwell, that's why I never traded today. But I must tell you, a couple of days back when you said that if it breaks 290, 10 to 90, it would go to 10,173, and beyond that 9640, even that is achieved. Never imagined that this could happen so fast. What I'm seeing in Nifty and Bank Nifty both is 4 gaps. I don't think I've seen that in my career of 20 years. 4 massive gaps is a sign of weakness. Even if you get rallies, I would doubt these rallies. Do you buy? Of course not. You only sell. And I've got 2 stocks, both on the short side. One is all with the pharma, then still can see a slight 380 or 375 zones, stop about 411. And so is Bandhan Bank, again looking weak. Target on the downside 320, maybe 310, who knows? Stop about 340. Have a resistance and trade short side. That's better than trying to get targets close.
Okay, well, SP Tulsan of sptulsan.com and Mehrbun Irani of Ginny James Consultants now join us on the show. Good afternoon. Mr. Tulsan, what a fall. Look at HDFC Bank down 9% now. What do you make of this weakness? Axis is down 12%, Kotak is down 9%. Today we're talking about the largest banks. We're not talking about the RBLs of the world.
See, Anuj, maybe now the fear of this slowdown, maybe is fear that will result into the big defaults in the repayments, or maybe the asset quality will start sinking in. But firstly, when you have fear, there is no point in taking any rational call. Firstly, because I've been hearing and I've in fact read many things that the whole world has gone into the bearish phase and all that. Difficult to comment. I'm not saying that I may be right or they are wrong. But my point is that unless until we see the respite on the coronavirus, but one thing is seen happening, that the whole cause for this all panic is coronavirus. And once that's, because actually I'm not worried too much for the Italy or maybe Iran or maybe South Korea, but that has started spreading in US. And US East Coast has seen, which I've in fact been saying for last 3-4 days. Once actually coronavirus starts picking up gradually, and then it shoots up just vertical line. Unless until that happens, and because China has given a good respite. China has been able to control it very nicely. I think that even if you take the panic likely to remain for next 2-3 weeks, thereafter the things are going to be seeing a huge big bounce back coming back. So difficult to I don't know whether it is right to call that whole world has gone into the recession for next 6 months or 1 year. That is in fact causing a lot of worry on the banking stocks, that everyone will see the defaults seen happening, whether on the consumer loan or whether on the industrial fronts or whether on the SME fronts. And in that scenario, you are seeing the hit being taken by all the quality banks also, whether you can include HDFC Bank in that category, ICICI Bank in that category. So I don't know that fear has any answer or any solution to this. Because if you again compare it with the 2008 fall, 2008 has seen, we have been talking, I've been hearing you talking about 2008 fall. Mind it, at the 2008, the Nifty fell, if I'm not wrong, by more than 50%, 52, 53% in the calendar year 2008. And that gave ample opportunity for the people, those who have gone and bought the quality. So but difficult to assess the bottom level, that what will be the bottom. Maybe I've been advising that, you buy HDFC Limited or HDFC Bank. But suppose if you have bought that couple of days back today, you may say that, oh, I'm already down by 15%, 20%. So stagger your buying, or maybe allow the things to get settled down. Maybe remain prepared to buy them at 10% higher level, but allow the things to get stabilized, at least in the US front, and unless until it spreads to the eastern coast, or it doesn't spread to the eastern coast, that will be seen quite positive by the global markets. Yeah.
Okay, well, right now there is absolutely no stopping the fall or even a reduction in the selling intensity. I mean, this is just slicing through now. 933 points gone. There's a 9% drop on the Sensex and the Nifty. Over 3,000 points gone on the Sensex itself. Anuj, where does, I don't know. I mean, I don't remember seeing such ferocious momentum on the way down in the market.
The Bank Nifty is now down 10%, 24,000 breached, and after that 200 points again gone. Now, the circuit rules say that post 2 p.m. even the 10% won't apply. Only 15% will apply. So, I mean, look, we're down 9, so that's why perhaps...
so now we halt only if there's a 15%?
Only if there's a 15%.
Okay.
Only if there's a 15%, otherwise we don't. And if, God forbid, I mean, it won't happen, but if, God forbid, post 2 p.m. there's a 15%, then it's you're done for the rest of the day. But Mehrbun Irani is also with us. Mehrbun, good afternoon. The market is like, it's just... I don't even know how to describe it. A few days back, we were discussing in cricket terminology. It's like almost playing on the New Zealand pitch and a battle for survival more than anything else. But you tell us, what do you do when you see index down 9%, when you see HDFC Bank down 10%, almost a triple-digit stock, that one now?
Anuj, if I say that I have seen such mayhem at least twice in the last 28 years that I've seen the market, I won't be wrong. But this time the mayhem seems to be a little bit different. Whole lot of voices, me included sometimes, like you feel that, oh, there is a temptation to buy. And let's be honest, the temptation was there last week. There's a buffet spread. You can go and pick up what you want. Last week on Monday, one felt the same way. Today, you feel the same way. But the problem this time is we don't know how long will it last and what disruption it can cause. The travel restrictions in place, trade coming to a halt, next 2 quarters at least, the global economy's growth nearly wiped out, at least in a large way. You have a country like Italy, which is the 4th largest economy in Europe, virtually at a standstill. You have US having its own major problems right now. You have the oil price problem, the shale gas problem, leveraged companies making shale gas in US. Apart from that, we had Yes Bank problem. So it's problems everywhere. To state that I should go and buy into the market right now, the fact is one fine day from the lows, you will see stocks moving up 20-30% in a matter of 15 days. It's certainly going to happen. The point is, should I buy now or there is some more pain ahead? I feel right now the situation is similar to you entering a dark tunnel with a lot of blood on your body because you already suffered some accidents. You see some more darkness ahead and you feel that let me go out of this tunnel, but you are worried that you will fall further. It's like an investor. He has lost nearly 30-40% of his portfolio value till now. You are asking him to put in some more money, telling him that this portfolio value may drop further and the new money also will come down further, but at last something will turn out to be good one fine day. It's easier said than done. The mind, according to me, has become paralyzed of most investors. There is complete capitulation. People are just surrendering, throwing in the towel in the midst of all this. I don't think anybody worthy will come to possibly bail them out. So this is the pain which we have to endure, and I would say that the best way to put it is wear your seat belt, look straight, and endure the turmoil which you are facing right now. It is true that one fine day the market will bounce back. It is true that some people will say, I told you to buy it at lower levels. The point is that person is not smart. He is just plain lucky or plain brave, because at the end of it all, nobody will be able to exactly say when to buy. So you may use all fundamentals right now, all technicals right now. This is the complete surrender. And somebody who will come and buy at lower levels is certainly going to smile because the bounce will be equally sharp. But at this point, honestly, with the mayhem that we are experiencing right now, the complete surrender that is happening, I think it is too early to state that this is the time you should go and buy. Though I see a whole lot of opportunities in the market, but when there is complete surrender, the market sometimes stretches itself much more than what it should stretch on the lower side as it stretches itself on the higher side too.
Okay, 95.47 on the Nifty. Those are the levels, and the low is exactly 9508. So let's see if you're going to hold on to that or not. But Meraboon, good afternoon. In fact, I was going to ask you exactly that. Now, if you're talking about someone who is going to buy today and will keep the faith for at least the next, several months, at least a year, what would you rather than advise buying? Should one look at big, large, so-called safe private sector banks, or would you go back to some of the best-known consumer companies of this country?
To be honestly, there is a whole lot of maddening noise out there, and virtually everybody's vision, everybody's hearing has got impaired right now, and it's very difficult to go and advise anybody to go and buy out there, because the point is, you very well know that things can fall another 10%. And don't forget, again I'm repeating, last 18 months already investors' portfolios have been bleeding. It is not that they have done well and you are telling them now it's come down, don't worry, it will go up again, go and buy right now, go and average. Ultimately, in hindsight, one fine day, as I said earlier also, you will feel, oh, I saw that price. But the point is, it is possible if you buy today. You may also see, oh, I saw that price, I did not buy, but I saw a lower price also after that. So somewhere there could be a bottom which could come and there could be a sharp bounce back. And if somebody wants to take this mayhem to their advantage and buy a little bit for the long term, I would state that go and buy into a couple of gold finance companies, because gold ultimately is the best asset class to invest in this mayhem. And with gold prices firming up, which they have firmed up over the last few days, I think they have a more leverage to borrow more and lend more ultimately. And I would say Manappuram Finance and Muthoot Finance, with clear disclosures, I'm advising them to my clients. I think these two stocks, if they correct well, and I think that one of them has already corrected quite well, Manappuram, I think they can be bought into. Among others, I would say HDFC Bank, since I heard Anu stating that it's 9% down. I don't have the screen in front of me. I think at 9% down, assuming that it will shed another 5%, and certainly give you a 10, 15, 20% upside over the next 2-3 quarters, if not one quarter, I think that would also be a decent buy. In the pharma pack, after a long time, I feel companies like a Pfizer, a Sanofi, they have corrected a little bit. If they correct more, would be a good opportunities. And Indian pharma companies like Ipca Labs, which I think is undervalued, and the stock has shared around 200 rupees in the last 24 hours. I think that also provides a decent buying opportunity. All the stocks, clear disclosure, I'm advising my clients to buy.
Mr. Tulsian, what about a stock like BPCL? Because, this sharp sell-off in crude, it still remains a divestment candidate. No longer at 500 or it's now at 335. I think it must have given up all the rally of the last 6 months or thereabout. Do you take a nibble here?
See, Anuj, I think the BPCL has come to the pre-divestment or maybe the pre-strategic sale announcements levels. And yes, definitely maybe at the difficult, I don't know the price now, 330, 340. But one thing is certain, that crude is going to remain soft the way the statements have come in from Saudi and Russia. Russia say that we can even sustain these levels for next 5, 6, 7 years, doesn't bother us. So that is going to be seen extremely positive for all the oil marketing companies. Come on the strategic sale, government having decided, having agreed to shift the deadline of March. Now there is no compulsion. If there won't be any kind of positive atmosphere bids coming in, they'll delay it further, maybe by about a couple of months, 2-3 months. And as I said, that I'm expecting that if you go by the history or the trend, the way the China has contained the coronavirus in the about maybe 2 months, expect the things to come to I pray God that it happens in the next 1 month, because as I said that it gradually happens but improves vertically sharply, and then thereafter that it peaks out there. So once that happens, and again the revival of the interest, you will see the same kind of people will start talking of the appetite, coming back, buying the companies or buying the stocks. And that will again be seeing a good upside actually amongst all three oil marketing companies, because of this strategic sale news seen very much in place. I'm quite positive on BPCL. So if you get a price, difficult to take a call. Set your price limit maybe at about 320, 325, 330. Take a price band. But I think among the oil and gas space, this seems to be an excellent stock from the strategic sale point of view, because I'm expecting the interest is likely to get evinced by the prospective buyers maybe in the next couple of months.
Fair enough, Mr. Hussain. We'll leave it there today. Thanks a lot for joining us. There is some recovery now. I use that with a bit of a fear all the time because, you never know for how long it lasts. But from the low of 95.08, there's about a 64-point recovery that you've seen on the Nifty, on the Bank Nifty from the low of 23,536. There's a decent recovery which is on in the Bank Nifty, but it won't reflect on the screen because the downward bars are so much and so big. It just doesn't show. Vaibhav Sanghvi is joining us, co-CEO of Avendus Capital Alternate Strategies. Now, Avendus is one of those which actually turned bearish on the market some time back on the first sign of this trouble. Vaibhav, hi, good afternoon. So, since you are an AIF, I'm assuming you would have some short positions as well, and that would be helping. But right now, what's the approach for this market? Do you think we are pricing in the absolute worst, or could this market see further decline?
Good afternoon, Anuj. Not a very good time, to be very honest, on the markets. But, let's understand the fact that whatever is happening is pretty unprecedented. And probably it is because of an event and not a structural change in the global economy. Yes, there can be kind of impact on the coming 1 or 2 quarters. But once that kind of stabilizes is where we can see some smart recovery also happening. However, important is to basically to be, to manage the risk in between that kind of time. So what I'm essentially saying is basically we are in difficult times, but the levels and the valuations which look at the company warrant that we may not continue to probably or, we will not continue to be kind of holding cash. We might kind of chip in at some point in time.
Okay, Vaibhav, good afternoon. So if you could just explain to us how a fund like yours behaves in a market like this, because yours is a long short fund. So I'm guessing the short positions right now outweigh the longs. Is that how it goes? And in terms of individual stocks, are you running any longs at all?
No, so we are of course running long, but what we do generally typically in these kind of periods is basically when the risks are pretty much unpredictable, then we generally tend to go into cash. It's not about short positions. So we would probably kind of ascertain or evaluate that kind of risk. Once we are on top of it is when we'll come back into the market in terms of our positioning. At this point in time, because the situation is still evolving, we would still be in cash and waiting for the things to stabilize.
Okay, so where do you intend to add longs, if any, Vaibhav, if the market stabilizes or if the market gives you an opportunity?
If the market gives us an opportunity, the biggest bet would be probably straight away go into Nifty. Because a 25% correction from the kind of top, 22% correction from the top is quite unprecedented in a very short period of time. This happened probably in 2008, and after which it is happening currently. So the best opportunity, to be very honest, without thinking much, we would probably, be looking at Nifty. In fact, the markets itself to be increasing our exposure.
Okay, so if I could sort of, ask about, positioning just relatively in terms of themes, what would you nibble into first? Would it be the stronger banks? Would you go back to the, so-called safer zones like consumer? Or, where would you start sort of dipping in? Or would you look at, let's say, discretionary, auto?
We would be looking ideally towards domestic kind of themes, because while the global situation may take some amount of time to stabilize, we would be concentrating on the domestic themes. And in domestic themes, as you rightly mentioned, we have been bullish on the banks. We'll be looking towards kind of private banks and also on the consumer discretionary side, which has taken a severe beating, post the coronavirus issue. So those are the two segments. And lastly, but not least, the rural side of the economy as well is something which is relatively doing better, is where we would be kind of entering in.
Okay. By the way, Monday is not looking too bad now.
Anuj, I really thought that you were away. That was sort of one dramatic day, and we missed you.